Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Great Roads on Virginia Rider Magazine. I'm your host, Mark Ritchie, and some of you may recognize the bridge behind me, which marks the intersection of Route 220 and Smoke Hole Road, which is one of the most iconic drives in the entire region. And we're going to bring it to you right here on Virginia Rider Magazine. So please enjoy, and thanks for watching. Cheers. I'm going to go full Stig mode. Welcome back, everyone. It has been a minute. We are on the world famous, or soon to be world famous, Smoke Hole Road, which follows South Branch Potomac River initially, and then it carves its way up one of the mountains. And we're here on a Saturday, so we're already seeing fishermen. It's a little bit bumpy. It's not the best pavement. Certainly the adventure sport crowd won't have any issues with it. According to Google Maps, this is a little over 17 miles long. And if you go the speed limit, it takes over 30 minutes. So good news is we got lots to talk about because we've been off for several weeks. The not so good news is not too many people have a half hour to watch a video, so we might have to split this up into 2 videos, or we'll just squash it down to 10 or 15 minutes or so. As you can see, this is not a road that you're going to want to race on. A, it's very unforgiving and technically challenging for even seasoned riders, and B, we're nowhere near a rescue squad. So some of you may know, Wendy was out of commission for 8 weeks. I broke down about 5 miles west of Monterey on 250 on a 40-degree day, so I had my heated gear on. I was running it, and the grips and the heated seat. And to make a long story short, I not only cooked an alternator, but it also froze, which had everybody scratching their heads. So I ended up buying a new battery. That wasn't it. Bought a new starter. That wasn't it. Turned out the alternator had froze, which made the engine turn over extremely slowly. And ended up having to go through 2 new alternators, because the first one that was ordered, it sounded like, I don't know, it just had an extra noise that wasn't there before. So fortunately the vendor shipped another one free of charge on the honor system, which never happens anymore. And you know, we shipped the faulty one back. And the second replacement one turned out to be just fine. So all that, when all was said and done, was 8 weeks. And I had written a post once we got back on the road that I was almost emotional after not hearing Wendy fire up for that long. I don't know if the camera picked it up, but that was a very, very cool rock formation. There's lots of rental cabins out here. Very popular swimming spot as well as fishing. Just a a nice destination during the summertime for people that enjoy water, as well as motorcyclists. It's early June, and it's a typical June day. I checked the temperature, it's 81, which is actually for some a bit mild this time of year. So we might see some folks in the water. The water's probably freezing cold that are swimming and not just fishing. It's a cool little cave. So when we got Wendy back, we had 2 days to get to Texas in the Dallas area for her grandson's graduation. And in the upcoming article in Virginia Rider magazine for our Great Places to Ride feature, here's a cool spot. There's a nice cabin right across from it. So this is a nice campfire pit too. Be prime swimming hole location. So we made it from Highland County, Virginia to Dallas, which was right around 1,350 miles in 2 days. And we subsequently did the return leg in the same amount of time, which we've never done before. And I hope, to be honest with you, we never will again. That was just balling, for lack of a better word. Being on edge that long and that hard it was just, looking back, it just seems like a blur, like you were just chugging cheap beer, you know, beer after beer, just like, it was just like all the same stuff, especially when you got into like Nashville and Knoxville and Memphis and Little Rock and riding around in Dallas. It was just craziness. When we got back, we didn't even want to look at a motorcycle for a couple of days, which is, you know, that's never been said by me. But I guess if I had to do it all over again, I would, because I really hate driving. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Have to be like during the fall or spring months when it's not quite so hot too. We had to endure some 90-degree plus days. It was 90 degrees on the second day getting there at 10:30 in the morning. And that's no fun at all, really. So we're following a cage. I've thought about, you know, pulling over and letting him get ahead. We might end up editing this sequence out, but I'm really in no hurry. There's a lot of traffic on this road today, so I'm kind of using him as a blocker. So when I see brake lights around some of these blind corners, I know that's a good indication that there's somebody coming the other way. So this section of the road ticks the box for scenery. Riding along the river, it's going to change complexion as soon as we get to the country store, and we'll be mostly in the forest and in some fairly technical twisties. I wish he would have pulled over. Now I'm getting antsy. I can do third gear, but second gear, my horns start to come out. If I'm not leaning. Yep, there's some bikes. Oh dear, he's turning left. The guy's playing air fiddle. If you listen very closely, you just might hear banjo music. That looked like the place in that Burt Reynolds movie, where the guy was playing the guitar, playing along with the banjo player. I guess we'll have to settle for air fiddle. And there's a dead end sign. I don't know if the camera picked it up, that marks you're supposed to turn there. And the sign that we just passed said we've got 12 miles. Speed limit's 30. Just not there. And right off the bat, you're in a fairly sharp and I don't know which is worse, encountering one of these guardrails or just not having a guardrail at all. I guess it's a roll of the dice either way. So one of the things we encountered on the trip to Texas, we were in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, where Highway 40 and Highway 30 split, and we were set up to take Highway 30 towards Dallas, and it was pretty congested traffic, and there was a U-Haul truck, box truck in front of us, and some just told me to stay behind him, just take it nice and easy, stay to the right, which he was doing, and let this all filter through. And it wasn't 5 seconds, I started hearing tires screeching and cars just going every which way. And there was a pileup in the left lane. Someone may have not known he was supposed to be in the right lane and slowed down and got plowed into, and someone plowed into the vehicle that plowed into him. And that was just a very fortunate sequence of events, because we just came through all of that calamity unscathed. And then a few hours later, when we were going through Arkansas, which by the way is the most boring highway I think we've ever been on. Hey, there's fifth gear. So there will be wildlife out here, which is a no-brainer for most everyone, but worth mentioning. So we're riding through Arkansas, and this SUV in front of us in the left lane, we were in the right lane. So he was about, 70 yards ahead of us or so, just goes off the left side of the road into those wired guardrails and careens into them. And I'm hard on the brakes. Fortunately, there's nobody behind us, thinking that he's going to cut back across the highway. And he just came to a stop. His SUV was all messed up. The graduation itself was really cool. They had the ceremony at the Ford Center, otherwise known as the Star, which is the Dallas Cowboys practice facility, complete with, they had 4 camera people, and they had a big, huge TV screen that, all the cameramen were panning the audience and showing the students getting their diplomas and stuff. And they held the American Country Music Awards there just a couple weeks before, so when Rose and I got back, we watched that. It was either on Amazon or Paramount. some loose gravel here. No, I don't feel like testing the ABS brakes. So in case I forget, I want to thank everybody again for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really like it, how about subscribing to our channel? I'll save you all the shit. We probably have a few more miles, and I don't know what's going to end up on the chopping block here. But you get the idea. It's going to be pretty much like this, more of the same. Pavement here is fairly smooth, which is nice. You don't have to, I just say that, perfect. So awesome. Aside from that turn, you know, some of these big heavy touring bikes loaded 2 up, you know, those bumps can pose a hazard on a windy, tight road like this. I'm really surprised there hasn't been more traffic, especially motorcycles on this road this Saturday. But what a treat. It's, in my world, it's always nice to just have an open road, not having anybody holding you up or trying to push you. That's, you know, you talk about the freedoms riding a motorcycle. You know, some folks, all they deal with is the traffic that Rose and I encountered in the metropolitan areas. And you know, in some cases you gotta go a half an hour, an hour just to escape all of that. And very fortunate that I have an abundance of roads like these in my backyard. So when I do find myself in a heavily congested situation, you know, for me, that's a WTF moment. It's culture shock. There's a lot of hiking trails here too. Why anyone would want to leave a perfectly comfortable vehicle and sweat profusely with heavy breathing and exertion. I guess I'm just trying to be silly. For the younger crowd, it's a cool way to exercise. But I don't know, as long as I was a kid pedaling bicycles uphill in my neighborhood, I couldn't wait to just be escorted around by an internal combustion engine. So I kind of had my fill of that. There's a view, somewhat. Alright, we'll put it in the highway gear. And notice there's no arrow signs like the video games. That is a hairpin corner, so you know, if you're getting a little racy, that's gonna catch up to anyone rather quickly. So I think, and I emphasize think, we're approaching the end of our drive.